relative risk, and then we'll see the correlation. So these things we'll see tomorrow. And then on day 3, we'll study the difference in the mean values, which is the independent t-test, its non-parametric counterpart, the paired t-test, and its non-parametric counterpart. And on day 4, we'll see the difference in mean between more than 2 mean, that is one-way ANOVA and repeated measure ANOVA. And on day 5, we'll try to tell you the basic concept of the logistic regression. So this is the overall plan of the session. And after this, there will be, in the breakout room, there will be assignment which you will be practicing, and then you have to complete the same assignment as an end of day activity. So that is the thing. And then before we start, I'll just show you the data, which exercise which has been given to you. So I think before that, let me complete the concept of variable. Because data entry, a good data entry is possible only after the understanding of the variable. So many of you have attempted that in data entry exercise, and we'll demonstrate also like the problems and the good part, whatever you people have done. And then you will learn, because once you come with your data, see, what is the utility of this workshop? Basically, we want to make you empower in doing the data analysis. So the problem which we have seen with the students or with the researcher, that once they do everything, then they come with the data and then they ask us for something, like maybe anything significant or any do something with the data so that a significant result should come. But that is very difficult at that point of time. So that's why we always start this workshop with the data entry and understanding of the variable, because once you have got a good and clean data sheet, analysis is not very difficult. So making your data for a good analysis is the first and foremost requirement of any good thesis or any good publication. So that's why the concept of variable is very important and you need to understand it. So whenever we do research, we measure something. So what do we measure? Basically, we measure variable. So variable, as you see the num, variable, what do we mean by vary? Vary means which is changeable. So this variable, what do we mean by this variable? This variable is liable to vary or change. Let's see anything like height, weight, blood pressure, or any variable that is a changeable thing. So which is a alterable, which is a capability of being changed, that is known as the variable. The second thing, this variable is a characteristics which varies from person to person, which varies from person also. In a person also, if you, let's say, if weight today is something, then after 10 days or maybe after 5 years, the weight will change. So within one person also it changes, and there are many variables, and most of the variables which changes varies from one person to the other person. So if let's say this is a one person, so one person has got uncountable number of variables. If you measure all the variable, it is not possible. So depending on your research question, you measure or count only those variables which are needed for your research. So like this case, you can see that this is a total population of the myocardial infarction of cases. So before this, I just few lines about why do we do research. So basically, whenever we do a research, we do it on a sample size. That sample is like out of so many, you choose few people on which you do your research, and then you extrapolate your results to the population. So that's why you do the research, because the population parameter is not known, based on which you want to make some evidence-based research, or it will enhance the practice of people, whether it is public health or whether it is clinicians. So ultimately, that's the aim of research. So let's see, this is one population where there is a total of myocardial infarction cases. So from these cases, I have selected few sample of MI cases from this population. And from that sample, if you can see, there are these many number of people. And if I select one person or one patient, so this patient has got many variables like age, gender, a particular race. There will be, like, let's say there's some history of cardiovascular disease, whether it is present or absent, and then some cholesterol level. So if I say that the age of a person is 45 years, he is a male belonging to white race, there is a history of cardiovascular disease, and the serum cholesterol level is 230. So like if you are measuring any variable for a sample, then you will got so many data. So we call datum to one sample. So this is like if you see that there are 10 individual, then there are 10 datum, and together this is called data, which we always talk. So the final value which we calculate, that is known as the sample statistics. So you can see the word here as sample statistics. So like in the previous example, you saw that there is a 45-year-old male. So that was for one individual. But if you have got a data, then you will have a sample statistics for age, a sample statistics for gender, like how many of them are male, how many of them are female, and then sample statistics for race and cholesterol. So this is the, and then coming to, so if I'm measuring this, it is not possible for me to measure everyone in the population because the population is so huge and you cannot define it. So if you can measure everyone in the population, so it will be like, if it is 1000, so this we also call as data. But let's see, this is whole population. So in that case, we call it as a population parameters. So whatever we calculate on sample, we call it as a statistics. And whatever we calculate on population, that is known as the parameter. So there will be a population parameter for age, for gender, for race, and for serum cholesterol. So for any measured variable, any variable which we measure like age, gender, we have got a sample statistics, which we do like on a sample size. But it is never equal to the population parameters, and there always remain a natural discrepancy between the two values. Whatever you will calculate from a sample, that is not a true reflection of the population. So this discrepancy is the sampling error, and amount of this discrepancy varies across the different samples. So we call it like larger the sample size, lesser this sampling error is. That's why we always emphasize on the issue of sample size, that you should have an adequate sample size to have a less discrepancy. In that case, whatever is your finding, you can say that is very much near to the population parameter. So now just as a break, so all of you please identify these characters and type in the chat box. And let me see who all types it correctly. Abhijit, Daya. Okay. ACP, Palak is writing, Daya, Abhijit, Rupali. Okay. Arshad is writing the whole this thing. Abhijit, Daya, and ACP Pradyuman also. Okay, good. Z channel heroes. Yes. Okay, so good one. I think 3 individuals. It's like a qualitative Seema. We always CID characters whom I can make out. Okay, so yes, true. It's a varied response from all of you. Like just writing the Z TV characters to the specific Pradyuman, Daya, and the others. So just so let's revise the concept of variable. A variable. Okay, Indra is writing angry. Kuch to gadbad hai. Naveen is writing kuch to gadbad hai. Okay, so that is your interpretation, Naveen. So variable, okay, that was the dialogue. So a variable is a characteristics which changes from one person to the other person. Like in this case, I asked a question like, who are these individuals? And the answer which you got, because it was an open-ended question. So I got a varied response from all of you. And then that is a variable because it was changing from the answer was changing from one person to another. Then the second is the data. So what is the data? A measurement or observation. That is the data. And data set is the collection of all these measurement is the data set. So now what is a score? Again, many times the value of single measurement or observation, we call it as a score or a raw score. Parameter, we have described that whatever we measure for a population, we call it as a parameter. And statistics is a numerical value which describes the sample and which we derive from the measurement from the sample, that is known as the statistics. So statistics, why it is important to understand and learn statistics, because it provides a way to organize data. Because from a data set, you cannot make anything, you cannot communicate what you want to say. So with this, we just try to give a formal or objectivized manner than the subjective thing. So now how do we yield data? So we do the measurement, like in this case, you can see the blood pressure measurement, maybe the thyroid swelling, the obesity, the baby weight, etc. So a process of in measurement, what do? We assign numbers to the various aspects of object or event. And our aim is to provide an accurate, objective or sensitive manner. And in most of the statistical software, you will see that unless and until you assign a number to a character, it doesn't perform the analysis. Like that's why we give code to like male 1, gender like as a 2. So we give code to all the variables. So now coming to the type of variable, there is a type which is known as the nominal variable. Example, gender. So gender is a nominal because if you change the reverse the order, it doesn't matter. Like I have given here 1 as a male and 2 as a female. So even if I give this 1 code to female and 2 to male, this order doesn't matter. So that's the nominal variable. In case of a ordinal variable, we have got a category, but that is an ordered category. So if there's a mild pain, moderate pain, and a severe pain, so this 1 we give, I cannot give 3 to this mild. Why? Because this 3 means it is higher. So I will give this 3 code to the higher category and 1 code to the lesser category. But this is not applicable to here as a male. Like if I give 1, 2, 3 as a male, female, and transgender, the gender doesn't mean that this is an ordered one. So you can give 1 to transgender or 2 to transgender, 1 to female and 2 to male, and vice versa. So I hope you have understood the difference between the nominal and ordinal. Nominal where this order or the changing number does not matter. Ordinal where this number matters, because this mild is less, you will give less code to mild and you will give more code, that is 3 to the severe. Then comes the interval measurement. So interval measurement is like it's a difference between the two time period. So we always classically give the example of time. So time between the 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. that is equal to time between the 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. That is the 1 hour. So that is the interval ratio, but it has got no absolute zero. And that we will understand in the subsequent example. Whereas in ratio, you will see that there is an absolute zero. So this person is weighing 20, the example is age. So this person is 20 years, this person is 21 years, this is 22 years. So we can perform ratio over it. And if the person is 40 years, we can say as compared to 20 years, he is twice as elder as the 40 year. Or you can calculate the ratio between 21 by 20 also, but the same is not applicable for time. And we'll see how. So just a question for you people. So an old farmer has got 17 cows and 3 sons. So after his death, this is what his will was, that I have decided that the livestock will be distributed among the 3 sons like so. So A, the oldest son, will get half of all cows. B, that is the middle son, will get a third of all. C, the youngest son, will get a ninth. And in this case, there was one rider that no cow should be harmed, partly owned or otherwise no one will get any of the cows. So how these cows to be given away to the village, or otherwise the cows will be given to the villagers. So now you have to make the distribution according to this will. Just a question, not a statistical one, just a brain game. Many of you keep solving such questions. So let me see the chat box. So A 9, B 6, and Deep is the first to get this. Maybe from the next time, we may keep some prizes also for you people who answers the first or maybe the maximum number of questions correct. Okay, so any before I crack this question, I give this answer to this question. So 9, 4, and 5. Okay, Soma is writing. Nine, 6, and 2. Ashutosh is writing. So he will be distributed. He will get half of all the cows. Okay, the first one was half of all the cows. B will get a third of all, and C will get a ninth. So it is the Prashant and the other two people have done it correctly. It is 9 plus 6 plus 2. So if I see the chat, okay, so who knows the secret only can answer, adding one cow. No, but in this case, it is not added. Added and then again taken out. Yes, initial, virtually added. Okay. So thank you. Again, we'll move ahead. So now coming to this, you can see here. So I'm restricting myself with this exercise. So you can see there are two weighing machines. There are two weights here. There's first weight, which is 10 kg, and this is 5 kg. So can you tell that the difference between these two measurements is 5 kg? Is it okay? Now coming to the second one, this is 10 a.m. and this is 5 a.m. So can you say that the difference of the distance between these two measurements is 5 hours? So yes and no. Sinduri is writing no. Indla is writing no. So but difference between 5 and 10 a.m. isn't it 5 hours? We say now that you did this work 5 hours before. So it's the difference. So no for time, no, just see it is an interval. It is not a ratio. Manoj, Kavita, and Sinduri. See the question. The question is the difference or distance between the two measurements. I'm not asking a ratio. I'm not asking that whether it is twice or not. So the difference between these two is definitely 5 kg and 5 hours. But if I ask the same question in another manner, that is in the form of a ratio, and in that case, I am asking you, can you tell that the 10 kg is twice than the 5 kg? So yes, 10 kg is twice the 5 kg. But can I tell that the 10 a.m. is twice than the 5 a.m.? So no, that is not there because 10 a.m. is not twice as the 5 a.m. So that's the difference between the interval and ratio scale. Did you get it? I think there was some confusion with the participants. Then, so the reference point is actual in the first case and which is arbitrary in the second case. So now coming to the weaker strength between these two, if you go from nominal to ratio, because nominal is the weakest in the measurement and ratio is the strongest in the measurement. So that's the level of measurement and hierarchy. So now this we have learned regarding the nominal, ordinal, interval and ratio. Now coming to the dependent and independent variable. So now what do you understand by a dependent variable and a independent variable? So in this case, this is a picture which you will see in, I think, many places. So what do you see in this picture? All of you please write in the chat box. What do you see in this picture? So there is something here. 3 plants and 3 drops depend on rain. Water droplets, different sizes and 3 pots depend on rain to grow. Okay, good. So many of you have answered. More the water, more the growth. Different amount of water. True. So I think you have given the answer itself. There's a different amount of water for all plants. And in this case, you can see the more the water, more the leaves in the plant. And in this case, the size of the plants are different. Number of leaves are also different. And the plant status is also different. So in both the picture, we have observed 2 things, that there is something which gets changed, which is the amount of water, which we can change. And there is something which is on the plant, that is the effect or the growth. So this amount of water, in this case, which variable you can change? So obviously we can change the amount of water because its effect will come on the plant. We can only change the effect on the plant by changing the amount of water, thinking that right now only water is necessary. There are many other variables, but right now we are considering if only water is needed, then if we change the amount of water, then definitely there will be different, the plant effect on the plant will be different. So independent variable is the amount of water in this case, and the dependent variable is the size of plant, number of leaves, whether they are living or dead. So now coming to the quantitative data. So data which we measure on a numerical scale, they are also expressed as numbers. So like you know that age, weight, height, IQ score, number of people, these are the quantitative or the numerical data. Any biological variable, you name a variable, cholesterol, days of recovery, CD4 cell count, hemoglobin, creatinine, liver function test, whatever we order, most of the variables are in the form of a quantitative variable. Now coming to, there is another classification of these variables, which is the discrete and continuous. So we have learned regarding the nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio type of variable. There's another classification of these variables, which is the independent and dependent variable. And there is something known as the discrete versus continuous variable. So what do you understand by discrete variable? So discrete variable is something where the fraction is not possible. So that's why there is a gap between the possible value. It will be only 1, 2, 3, and 4. It cannot be 1.2 or 1.3. Like number of children in a family, you cannot call that there are 3.2 or 3.5 children in the family. Similarly, you cannot say baby born to a hospital. Number of days of hospitalization. These are usually a discrete data. Coming to other type of data, which is the continuous, in this case, the gaps between the continuous data here, there is no gap, because you can say that hemoglobin is 12.1, 12.2, 3, and so on. So there is no gap between the data. Now see this picture and tell me what is this. So it is a medical college. Gurudwara? KGMU. Yes, rightly said. Yes, I see Gulbarga. Doesn't look like a hospital or a medical college. Yes, it is KGMU. It is a medical college. It is KGMU. Good one. So now we learnt about the continuous variable or a discrete variable. Now coming to another type of variable, which is a qualitative, we call it as a qualitative or a categorical variable. So this is a data which characterizes, but it does not measure the properties of a thing, like color of the eye, whether it is blue eyes, black eyes, it is a characteristics. But for analysis purpose, we also give some code to these characteristics. So qualitative data are usually not numerical in values, and numbers are used only for labeling purpose, like gender, like socioeconomic status, like skin color, color of eyes, hair, pain. Okay, so Dr. Ghosh is writing my PG college. Good. And then religion is like Hindu, Christian, Muslim. These are not numbers, but we give numbers to them because of the analysis. And then so again, to summarize, we have got two type of data. So it is very, very, very important for you to understand this type of data, because all these statistical tests, the computer is something like, if you give the command, it will yield something, but you need to understand in which type of variable how it should be distributed, or how it should be entered if you want something meaningful out of it. So you have got two types of variable broadly, that is the quantitative and the qualitative, categorical. The quantitative, again, you can classify it into the discrete and continuous, and categorical, again, you can quantify it as a ordered and unordered. Ordered is like a ordinal and unordered is like a nominal. That is a qualitative type of data, because in logistic also, this concept will again come. Again, in every assumptions, you will see these variables. We often use such type of term. So again, qualitative, we have got a nominal and ordinal scale, and in quantitative, we have got a interval and ratio scale. So why there is so much of importance? Because the qualitative and quantitative data, they behave differently. That's why their analysis is also different. And the level of measurement, it determines the type of statistics which is appropriate for that analysis. That's why it is very important for you to understand the nature of variable in your data set. So now this is one example of study of coping and perceived stress among adolescents. You can see that this is although the age is a continuous variable, but we have made a categories of it, like 12 to 14, 14 to 16. So it is a categorical data, which is a ordinal type, because there is a order. Again, gender, it is a categorical, but it is a nominal. Religion, if you are writing like Hindu, Muslim, it is a nominal, which is a categorical. Class, like if it is 8th, 9th, 10th class, then it is the ordinal, which is a categorical. Birth order of the child, first born, second born, or last born, again it is the ordinal. Whether the father is alcoholic or non-alcoholic, it is again nominal. And stress score and coping score, like if you are measuring it, maybe on a Cohen scale and a brief cope, it is a type of ratio scale, which is a continuous. So this was about the type of variable. Now coming to the data entry exercise. So first I'll read out the exercise. So this was the exercise which was given to you. You plan an intervention study to control blood pressure, and the intervention is yoga. You randomly allocated yoga to 30 cases and routine care to 30 control. In that case, you have not given yoga, only the routine care. And this is the data collected from the 4 participants. So this was the participant number 1. This was a 2, 3, and 4. So I'm not going, because many of you have attempted this exercise, and I'll just show. I'll start from the first. So we'll start from Asmita. Please don't mind, I had to write the name just because of the identification, but we may do it from the next time, like participant 1, 2, 3, and 4, because many of you will not be liking, like if some error, but all of us made, like we do error, don't feel that, your error is being pointed out here. So you can see that it has been entered like yoga, routine care in one group, the name, and then age, gender, you can see like male, female. Symptoms. So what is your comment on this data set? All of you. Can you, so most of the things are correctly entered here, but still, can you find that there will be one issue if you have to analyze one variable? What that issue is?
Symptoms needed to be entered separately.
Yes, Dr. Imran is right. Symptom needed to be entered separately, because if you want to know how many of them had headache, how many of them had fatigue, it will be difficult for you if you have entered in a combination. And that too, like someone is entering anxiety as a first, fatigue as later. So even if you want to separate it, like there is some, in Excel, there is a command by which you can separate this into the different columns. But if the order is not correct, then again, by separating these symptoms also, it will not be of much use. But others variable, it was correct. In this case, again, we can see the same problem, symptoms. In this case, you can see like, in this case, in gender, by mistake, this has been entered. Any other problem which you can see here in this data set?
BP.
Yes, Sindhuri is right. So BP, it has been entered together as a slash. So this will again pose a problem. Each variable, you just imagine your data, it should be entered as a separate column. You cannot have two things, no character, nothing in an Excel sheet. In this case, yes. Who will answer? Anyone? What is the issue here? Age.
Ma'am, writing kg and all that.
Okay, yes, true.
Centimeter, kg.
Yes. So these words like kg, you can write here in the bracket, like weight bracket in kg, but not as a separate value. So that is true. Again, the same symptoms and again the same BP, which was there with the previous one. This is again, you can see the blood pressure. In this case also symptoms and blood pressure. So the common errors. In this case also you will see the blood pressure and symptoms. Again, kg, centimeter. This you can see, I am just skipping. Okay, she has analyzed, I think also. But again, the symptoms or rest of the things are okay. I think, again, now comment on this data sheet.
She has categorized, but like someone would take symptom 1 different, symptom 2 different. So like we need
Yes.
to categorize the individual symptoms.
Yes. So how it should be entered then?
Headache, yes, no. Fatigue, yes, no. Anxiety, yes, no. Fever.
Yes. So all of you, please, are you getting what is the issue with this data? Everything is correct in this data set, except that you have to specify here, like headache, yes, no, and yes. So then you can categorize like how many of you have headache, because you can see here again, one person is having headache. Again, in this case also, there are two people who are having headache. So in this case, then you will not have a proper proportion of headache in symptom 1 and symptom 2. So ideally, we'll show you again. So in this case, what is the problem? So I think this is the clean sheet, Imran. So we can see like the data should be entered. In this case, we cannot see any problem because he has separated all the symptoms like headache, yes, no, fatigue, anxiety, fever. And then weight, he has written perfectly like the way I was saying in kg, centimeter. So this is a perfect data. If your data is like this, it will not take much time to analyze. And then we can see like others, same problem. If I can see. Just, and then I can see Khushbu, Nishi. So this is also Rajesh. Let me see Priyanka. Priyanka is also right. I can see like she has also written fever, anxiety, fatigue, headache. So it is very good. It is perfectly fine. All the things have entered correctly. If I see Rajesh, then again the same problem of all those centimeter and kg. I think this is also perfect. Rajiv, you have entered correctly. Ruby, again the problem with these clubbing and again centimeter and kg and BP also. Ruchi has done it correctly. All the in a code, she has done the coding also and all separately. Rupali, again BP, there's an issue with the BP cell and the symptom. Then Sahaya, I can see again there is a BP and symptom. Seema, Okay, she has separated all these anxiety, yes and no. And I think only the problem with this BP, because BP is in a different or in a slash manner. So that is a problem. If I see Shireen, it is also right, like present. So Shireen is also correct, 100%, because she has also written like male, female, and these values separately. Sinduri is again very good, perfect, all coded. She has even gone one step ahead and written the codes too here and everything. Very good. And then Shruti is also good, all separate, yes, no. Uttam, again, clubbing. And then, except for clubbing, everything else is okay. Vijay, I can see again kg, centimeter, and clubbing of this thing. So that's it. So this was a good feedback to all of you, how we should enter the data set. And I hope from next time onwards, you will be very careful. If you have a clean data sheet, like we saw with many people like Sinduri, and there were many whom I called out. So then importing in Jamovi will not be an issue, because ideally we suggest that you should enter data in Excel. Then you can import that Excel into any of the software. Right now you are learning basic data analysis, but once you step up and go to advanced data analysis, at that time you may find it that only one type of software is not sufficient. So there are few things which are good in SPSS. There are few things which are good in Jamovi. There are few features which are good in Stata. So we are not telling you to learn everything together, but if you have started your journey into this data analysis, then after learning Jamovi, there are many good things. If you have a good Excel sheet, few things you can analyze in SPSS also, in Stata also. But the basic thing is a good data entry in the Excel sheet. That's why this whole exercise was planned. And we always want you to have a clean data sheet. Now coming to this Jamovi, and then I will now start with the Jamovi interface. So this Jamovi is a software where I'll show you also. This is just a theory. So it was released on August 2018 and it got updated in March 2019. And every time it's an open source, so people keep on adding, keep writing commands to it. So it is getting updated every time. So that's the beauty of the Jamovi. So what we all can do in the Jamovi, so you can do the basic data analysis. There are many modules which are there. So with that, maybe the Jamovi which you have installed, all the modules will not be there. But in case of need, we will show you, you can do that installation from the library. And then again, there's a meta-analysis which needs module installation. So when the beauty of this Jamovi is that it has got a dynamic interface. So whenever you run the analysis, the results get updated as you change the option. So there's no need to rerun the whole analysis. And it saves time in table formatting because tables are in APA format. Many of the time, we do the reformatting of the table because especially in a journal where you cannot send more than 6 or 7 table, then you need to club those tables. So that action definitely you need to do in the MS Word. And all the analysis, it is written in R language. So commands are there. Actually, in the background, it is the R commands which is running. So you can put the, I'll show you that syntax modules also. And then you can see that what are the codes, and if you, many of you who knows how to write the codes, then you can modify it also. And so for whom Jamovi is recommended? For all of us. And we have seen many articles published using Jamovi. So many PGs and many researchers, they ask like, can they quote Jamovi as a software? Yes, definitely. Because, SPSS is a paid software and everyone cannot purchase it. Similarly, the Stata is also a paid software, but Jamovi is a free software and you can definitely write it in your publication or in your data analysis. that you have used Jamovi as a source of data analysis software. So there are two types of this Jamovi. Okay, is my volume is coming less?
Yes, ma'am, little less than before.
Okay, then let me check the setting. Setting is maximum here. Just a sec. Okay. So is it better now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there's some problem with the audio settings, so now it's better. So now I think this variable concept we have already taken. So now I'll show you the actual Jamovi interface. So we'll start with the, so all of you, many of you have asked that how to know where our Jamovi is. So you can create a shortcut on your desktop, and on this window icon, if you click Jamovi, so on your window icon, you have to type Jamovi, then it will show anything, whatever you want. If you type on window, you can see here. So now I'll click this Jamovi and a new sheet will appear. So this is a blank sheet. So if you open your Jamovi, but again, these modules will not come here. These modules will not come like this maybe survival, JPower. This we have installed, that's why it is coming here. So you can see there are options, like you can see there is a variable, this is a data, this is analysis, and there's a button of this edit. And these are the options like exploration, t-test, this is ANOVA, this is your regression, frequencies, factor, survival, JPower, and major, this we have installed. So now I'll import the data set, because if I import the data set, and then you can see. So this, I've clicked this. If you can you see there are 3 parallel lines here. So if you click this, you can see there is an option of new, open, import, save, save as, and export. So I have clicked this open. So if you click this open, then it will ask you to browse the file. So I have clicked this browse, and then there is this is my Excel sheet, which I have named at demo, because I have to demonstrate import level, compute, and transform. So I have to show these actions. I have to demonstrate these actions. That's why I have kept the file name like this. So I know where this file is in day 1. I will just open it, and then this data, this will be populated. So you can see the data has appeared now. And then there is this version where you can see version 2.2.5. That is the result part. So this is a very unique feature of Jamovi, that in the same interface you have got this data as well as the result and or the output. Because those of you who have done the data analysis in the SPSS or in the other software, you will see that it appears in the 2 separate folder. But here in the same interface, you can see both the result as well as the data and all these options. So this left side icon, all these options are for the data, and this is for the result. So if you see this module, if you click this, and you can see it will show you the installed module. So I have installed like Jamovi, this Scatterplot, DeathWatch, JPower, Survival. But if you click this Jamovi library, you will see that there are 3 options here. There is something known as the installed, which you have seen here. I have shown you. This is the available, list of available, and this is side load. So available, you can see there is a lot available, and depending on your need, maybe not now, but as you go advance in your data analysis skills, you can definitely download and install these modules in your Jamovi, and you can perform these actions. So you can see here, like effect sizes and confidence intervals also, they have now put it here. So many of the people, they only want like confidence interval and effect size. So separately also you can, this is like for a meta-analysis. So all these options are there under these, this thing, which you can see here in the module section, this plus button. So this plus button is for the module. And if you click this plus button, all those modules which are there in the library, it will show you the list, and depending on the need, you will install it. Right now, in the basic data analysis, you don't need to install anything. The Jamovi which you have installed, that is sufficient for these 5 days workshop. Maybe when we have an advanced workshop, then we will ask you to install more modules. Then coming on to the other options here. So you can see that there are 3 dots here. So if you click these 3 dots, you can see that it is giving the number format. So like it gives you like P value format up till 3 decimal point. Maybe the number format also, it shows you like decimal place or the significant figures. This 3 or 2, this is the reference. If you want reference to be visible, it will give you the reference. If I put it as visible, then it will, in the bottom, whenever you perform result, it will show you the reference of this Jamovi. But I just don't want this. Again, plot theme is default, color is of Jamovi. But if you want something like SPSS or dark or accent, Hadley, there are various graph types. You can change these plot options, but I have not changed it, and I have kept it like default, which is the Jamovi. So this is this plot also you can change. So these are the options which will come by these 3 dots. And if you like, there you can see there's a small icon here, which is of there's a very small this thing, this one. So this is for enlarging this. So if I click this, this will whole be the output. And if I again do this, this again, the data will also come. So this is regarding this. And now we'll see the other actions here. So I have told you, I'll again repeat, there is something known, these 3 parallel lines. You go first, click on this start window, type Jamovi, then Jamovi will open. Click on these 3 parallel lines, click on this option of open. It will show you a path. You have to show the path to this, like browse the file, and then it will come here. Again, you can see there is something known as the data library. In this open section, you can see there are 2 options. This is one PC. This PC means in my system, and there is a data library also with this Jamovi. So they have also given a data set where you can import that data and you can perform the analysis. So if I click that, you can see that you will have a data library, and you can see like these are the meta-analysis data. If you want to learn meta-analysis, you can use the data of Jamovi also. This is the survival module. This is the big 5 data, which is a personality trait data. This is a tooth growth, and all these data. They have write the description also of these data. So if you want to practice on any data set, like in one of the workshop, we have used the Jamovi data, that the questionnaire development, this thing, validation of a questionnaire. In that case, we have used this Jamovi data set library for the for our workshop. So that library is also there, and you can use that in case you want to practice. So now I'll show you the question which I have to do. So if you see here, you will see that you will not find any label, that like 0. So first I'll show you the variable. So this is the variable. So you can see there are many variables. You can see like name, gender, age, socioeconomic status. So if you double click any variable, then you can see it gives you the gender. It writes the name, gender. There's a description also. Like if you write description, gender, of study participants. You can write that. And in this case, sorry. You can see here that it asks you what is a measurement type. So if you click this, you can see there are 4 options: nominal, ordinal, and continuous variable. So both these interval and ratio, it takes it as a continuous. So it classifies. So you have to enter something here. So if you, by mistake, if you change this to continuous, then there's a problem with the data analysis. So that's why you need to identify your variables correctly. So measurement type is a nominal variable, and this is an integer. I cannot make it as a decimal because it will be as an integer. So that's why I have written integer. And this level, so now you have to label. So I will show you the exercise first, and then I'll label it probably. So if I see the exercise, so I have to label gender, 1 as female and 2 as male. Socioeconomic status, 1 as low, 2 as medium, and 3 as high. Smoker, 0 as no smoker and 1 as yes. And all other like these morbidity, 0 as no and 1 as yes. So I will now enter, I will label these variables in the Jamovi. So this is the one, I'll write 1 here as female because it was written 1 as female and 2 as male. So you can see here, like up this, along with this female, you can see there's a 1 number here and there's a 2 number here. Similarly, if you click there, you can see there are arrows. So this arrow is for the previous variable. If you move like this, it will go to next. And there is 1 arrow here. If you click this, it will hide it. So again, I will double click. I need this. So I will double click this. So it appears. So this we have done with this. Since age is a continuous and it is an integer, this gender I have labeled. This socioeconomic status 1 as low because we have read that it is a ordinal variable. So low, maybe medium or moderate, whatever you use term, and high, middle class, generally we say. Then diabetes. Again, this is a, so 0 is the absence of diabetes and 1 is the presence of diabetes. Similarly, keep on moving ahead. I have to write hypertension as absence. So in this case, you cannot do the copy paste. In SPSS, you can do that. But here you have to enter it for each of the variable. Presence of variable, you can import the SPSS file also in the Jamovi. So Jamovi, in the Jamovi, you can import all type of files. I'll show you the type of files which you can import. So this is absent. And this is present. So similarly, you can enter all the variable and you can label it. Okay. So this is how to label it. So if I click this and if I open and if I like this PC and if you browse, you can see the data files here. So it import all JASP, SAS, data, R, SPSS, Excel, CSV, all files it can import. So it is not like in no specific file type is, there are many options and all many type of files can be imported into the Jamovi. So this is one exercise which you have seen. Now I have to, the second, this is for the labeling. So till now, what you learned, you have seen the general interface of the Jamovi. You have learned this I will cancel because I was just showing you people the type of file which we can import. This is the data. You can see, like, instead of this, it is writing 1 present and absence. I was just writing diabetes. So it will start appearing here. And then now I have to show you, you can see many options here. So this setup is also for if you click this setup, it will open this variable only. Again, if you want to close this, click this. Then you can see there are many options. This option is for the compute. So you can see there is an option of compute here. There's an option of transform here. This is for the addition and deletion of column, and this is for the addition and deletion of rows. So one more thing is, like, if you want to attach any variable, if you want to add, so you can see there are 2 options, append and insert. So if you insert, it will appear in the middle, wherever your cursor is. If you click this option of append, it will appear at the last. So similar thing is there for the transformed variable also, and for the computed variable also. So now I have to transform. So if I go back to the exercise, so I have to use the computation, sorry. So I have to compute the total number of comorbidities. So how I have defined the comorbidities? My comorbidity, so for that computation, maybe I'll open the data sheet which is clearly labeled. So that's why I'll go to this and I'll open a data sheet which is labeled. In this case, you can see, like, the action which I was performing, it is already here, like all the socioeconomic status, diabetes, hypertension. I think few are left. This is again 0, 1. This is not complete, but it should be complete. Like, then in this case, I have to calculate the total number of morbidities. So how I will do that? You can see here, morbidities are hypertension, cardiovascular disease, stroke, COPD. So I will go to the option of compute. So I click this compute. Once you click this compute, just be patient for a few minutes. You can see there are many options. So this is the computed variable. You can name it like total number of comorbidity. This is my computed variable. You can write the description also, or you can leave it as such also. Now this is formula. This, if you see this function, this is like there are 2 functions, maths and functions and variables. So once you select these functions, these variables will appear here. So this case you can see here, and if this comes by this, selecting this. So total number means you have to write I have to write the sum. So you can click this. There's a function which you can say this is exponent, log, square root, statistical. Also, you can see these interquartile range, max, minimum. If you come down, you can see there is something known as sum. So if you click this sum and keep selecting the variables. So variables like the diabetes, then I'll select hypertension. You have to put comma. Okay, so after diabetes, put a comma and then select the hypertension, again comma, CVD, again comma, stroke. This I am calculating like a person. Again, with stroke and COPD, there is no comma, so I have inserted a comma. And then after COPD also, CKD. and then I have done nothing, this. So you can see this is the total number. So by mistake, what I did, I have inserted this just after this serial number. You can see this total number of comorbidity. So this you have to see like where your cursor is, and depending on that, and with this you can see a black dot here. Can you see? This black dot is not there in any other variable. So with this transformed or computed variable, there is a dot which appears that makes it clear that this was not the original variable, but we have calculated this variable from the existing data set. So this is how you use the option of this compute function. Then in compute, you can use there, you can give the various commands. So I'm just demonstrating the very simple one. Now, if you have to do the transformation, so many times you have got a continuous variable and you need to do the transformation into a categorical variable. So I will show you with this example, this like age. So if I have to classify age as less than 30 year, 30 to 60 year, and more than 60 year. So how will I be doing that? So I'll again go back to the data sheet. In this case, you can see there is an option. So I have kept this data sheet here. So again, if you need to do that computation, you keep your cursor next to probably the age. So I will see where the age is. Age is here. So now I will go to this transform. So this transform, you can see age. In this transform variable, you can see here something appears like which variable needs to be transformed. And this source variable you have to select. So you can select any variable, but in this case, I have to do the transformation and you have to give the command like which transform action. So right now I have not given any command. That's why it is coming none. I will click this and I will create a new transform. So if I create a new transform, you can see a transform 2. In this case, you can write transform 2 is the age transformation. And in this case, you can use the same transformation formula to any other variable also if it is there. So once, and in the description, you can write like making the category of age. And then you have to click this add recode condition. In this case also, this if you click this function, this is same as you have seen in the compute option. But in this case, you have to add recode condition. So now in this case, you can see that if this is there and source. So here a light blue color box you can see. If you click this, you will see there are operators. So in Jamovi, this equal to is represented by double equal to. And then this is more than, this is less than, this is more than equal to. And if you go down, this is less than equal to. So my first category of age was, it was less than 30. So I will click as less than, and here I will write 30. And in this case, you have to use the code also. What will you write here? So if you write words here, you have to write in backtick. So I will backtick and then I will write less than 30 years. And then again put a backtick. Not double tick, but a backtick. Similarly, again I will add recode condition. So if it is less than 30, I will write is less than 30. Next is if the source is, I have to write, second one is 30 to 60. So I will write here like less than 60. So if it is less than 60, then it automatically takes the lower category as 30. So I will write here as 60. And in this case, I will write 30 to 60 years and then backtick. And else means the else, it is a third category. So here I will use else, I will use more than, again in the backtick, more than 60. And if you close this, you can see here that your transform variable is like, you can check, it is 17, so it is less than 30. It is 42, so it is 30 to 60 years. It is 24, so it is less than 30. So all the variables, you can see the transformation. So this continuous variable, it got transformed into the categorical variable. So this was the exercise. So we did 3 functions. You have learned how to label a variable. Either you can click on this setup, or you can click on this variable, and you can keep on going down and double clicking it. Then this will appear. You can label it. Then we have learned like how to compute something. So total, like you have to compute the BMI, you can give the formula. So it will compute the BMI. And then we have learned how to do the transformation action. So compute is always, remember, in the transform also you have to always give this, add this, create new transformation. If unless and until you click this, that window will not appear, which we were seeing now. And we have also seen that these variables, they appear with a dot. Whether it is a transformed variable or whether it is a computed variable, it appears with a dot. So that's the thing which makes it different from the other type of original variable. So we have learned this. We have seen the Jamovi interface. So now we can go to the breakout room, and we can learn, we can practice more on that. Assignment, I hope all of you have downloaded the assignment sheet. So those of you, ideally it is recommended that you join with your PC, that is your laptop or a desktop, because with the mobile you cannot share your screen. But I think there was one girl who could not join with the, there was some issue. Mary. So Mary, you can join with the laptop, because even if you can't speak, that is okay. We can see your commands. So it is now some rules for the breakout room. So it is requested from all the facilitators and mentors. Kindly introduce yourself. And like in group dynamics, we learn that there should be a group leader. So maybe not today, but from tomorrow, you can identify one group leader in your group. And then there will be a record keeper or a timekeeper who will keep a tab on the time. And then a third person could be one summarizer who can summarize at the end, like what went well and how, like what could be done more. And all the facilitators, please keep noting down the session feedback of this breakout room. And we have given 20 minutes for this breakout room. You can choose, if all of you could not share in the next breakout room, give preference to those people who could not share screen in the first breakout room. I hope I'm making myself clear to all the mentors and facilitators, because we could not talk earlier. So we thought like, so Akanksha,